there are a couple of reasons. I mean, here's a guy who, by his own admission, and there should be no shame in this, by the way, got into Yale Law School because of affirmative action. I think that was fabulous. I think nothing wrong with it. He apparently is ashamed of it, so much so that once he became a jurist on the courts, he decided his first and foremost obligation, apparently, was to help usher out the very programs that had opened the door for him. I'm not sure how to think about that, except to believe that that is someone who does not have a problem with the system of white supremacy that marginalizes other black folks, as long as he got his. And he got his, and then he got out and basically said, that's it, we're done with that. I think if you look at his rulings, and particularly if you contrast his behavior as a judge and as a justice with the man he replaced on the court, Thurgood Marshall, it's very interesting to see that one of the greatest jurists in American history when it comes to civil rights and when it comes to human rights and progressivism was replaced by one of the most reactionary justices, because George H.W. Bush knew that you had to replace the black justice with other couple of reasons. I mean, here's a guy who, by his own admission.
Now I know why they ask you if the video is for kids or not. It's not because they might hear something that's gonna, really harm them for life, but it's because they don't want the kids to see their parents, the government, and what we would call social media being taken advantage of, and having to see the system that they will have to grow up in, to see their parents sitting on the sofa not doing anything when they're taking us for everything that we got. Clarence Thomas replaced one of the greatest Chief Justices, Thurgood. We replaced him with garbage. And most of the representative, Congress people, judicial branch, they don't advocate for the citizens. We don't even advocate for ourselves. So I would think that, I guess we get what we deserved, But I will tell you this, it's a shame for parents, grandparents, and people living today to not want to give the children something better than what we had. The way things are going right now, they may not even have a United States by the time they come in. We got people that are showing us that they don't really care about what's going on, and we don't care that they don't care. Our national histories are nothing more than a record of callous creations, craftily conceived to justify and explain the centuries of bloodshed which caught marble floors, surfaces of Judeo-Christian altars where bodies and spirits have been savagely slaughtered and sacrificed to man-made civilization. The only flaw in the process of Caucasian/Nordic civilization was a product of the process itself. They called it Negro. Unknown, oversight added the black quantity and quality which could not be completely dissolved in the stew. And the stew we reference in society as something to be cooked. Okay? What did they call that when Jesse Jackson was doing that? Rainbow Coalition? This is like a gumbo. All types of people, they say. But DNA says that Africa is it. They had been more successful with the Native American Indian by isolating his case and causes into the potpourri of a national brew, hardly discernible except as tiny grains of red paprika, grains of power, dusted upon the surface of bubbling milky white contents contained in the melting pot of human admixtures. Then they elected to add other ingredients into the white broth like black pepper for seasoning, scraped from the surface of faraway Africa. An exotic spice was added to perk up the national flavor. They grounded and pounded this alien black ingredient into a fine powder, just as they had done with the native red man before adding him into the human cauldron, adding heat and stirring him well. But something unforeseen happened when they added the black spice, the black species, which was thought to be possessive of all the Caucasian and Nordic qualities in appearance, but for color and taste. This special quality, although ground into powder, retains certain native prehistoric qualities and characteristics inherently distinctive as their own. Yeah, because we are the one. Rather than dissolve, the black powder particles rose to congeal into a brittle jelly-like mass as it formed to become apparent, floating around on the surface of the boiling stew. Thus, this Negro spicy species was identified as the first national synthetic, indicating the folly of human and Christian oversight. And oversights must never be admitted in democracy, for oversights in cooking or baking are simply confessions of a bad cook, a bad democracy, a bad people. Any self-respecting European American chef will tell you so. To admit his mistake in cooking, the contents of the entire pot are unfit for human consumption, and thereby unsafe and unsalable to consumer who wish to pay for it. So, the particular client of our national American soup began to question the origin and the presence of the Negro, the brittle black mass, bubbling and bursting from the body and the surface of steaming hot broth offered for their purchase as a delicious bowl of American democracy, where all components were supposedly in and dissolved. So the chefs, cooks, and doctors of democracy, unable to fully explain the presence of this brittle black mass or mess of human nothingness, coagulating at the top of their broth, called for the consultants, the glib American politicians known as the seamstress or the tailor of democracy, who upon sensing the desperation of the cook in crisis took grasp of the situation immediately. And what did he do? He lied like all politicians. With his bare hands, the seamstress politician reached in and lifted the brittle black mass from the steaming stew, holding it away from the customer, bade him to go on, enjoy your delicious supper stew, while exclaiming, "You have been first-hand witness to the greatest of all American democratic discoveries." Still holding the hot mass behind his back in feigned secrecy, the seamstress politician expounded a new modern discovery: the Negro, a racial synthetic, a substitute, replacement for Chinese, Japanese, and the American Indian, only more durable and more flexible, tried by water, tested by fire, malleable as soft dough, willing as sweet syrup, as hard as stone, strong as steel, able to be spun, pre-adventuring fiberglass, capable of being woven into the thread as a principal support and patchwork of democratic process. The seamstress offered such claims on behalf of the Negro discovery as historical evidence in the cause of progress and national ingenuity. Very shortly thereafter, the Negro appeared, featured at world fairs, expositions, conventions as a complement to American industry advancement mechanical. It could walk, it could talk, even though that it could think. So the Negro was allowed to speak for itself, absolving the cook and concoctors for his presence while claiming seamstress for inventing him. He sang, danced, cried, laughed for appraisal before the Judeo-Christians who had